Time passes, seasons change, but my desperate need for validation remains constant. Do me a solid and smash that like button and drop a comment right now. Literally anything helps the algorithm gods bless this channel. So get typing down there and show some love. That's it. Now let's dive straight into the actual story. The kingdom of Kuka is tiny, ruled by a king with 0 heirs. No prince, no queen, just his 15-year-old daughter Yona. It's a small place surrounded by thirsty neighbors watching. War is pretty common here, mainly because everyone else wants a piece of their real estate pie. But weirdly enough, since the last king died 10 years ago, things inside the borders have been peaceful. Yona skipped a major memorial service for her dad simply because she couldn't find an outfit that looked cute. The event happened without her. Even though her dad thinks she's gorgeous, she hates her thick, red, unruly hair and obsesses over it constantly. Enter Hak, one of the generals. He shows up just to roast her, getting a pass since they're childhood friends. Hak mentions that Suan is arriving soon, and Yona immediately sprints off to go see him. Suan is another childhood buddy, just 3 years older than the princess. It's been ages since they hung out, but he's here to celebrate her 16th birthday coming up next week. Upon arrival, Suan goes straight to greet the king. Yona gets annoyed because he still treats her like a toddler. When her mom died, Yona was crushed, so Suan stepped in as her emotional support human back then. That's why she's totally crushing on him. The next day, she tracks him down and finds him in an archery contest against Hak. She watches, totally intrigued. She wants Suan to teach her archery, but the king has banned her from touching anything sharper than a spoon. Instead, Suan invites her for a horseback ride, and she says yes before he even finishes asking. Hak helps her up, and she notices Suan is super smooth with the ladies, which explains why he gets marriage proposals he constantly rejects. Not wanting to lose, Yona lies and claims she's already engaged to Hak. Hak is baffled, having 0 recollection of ever proposing to her. Suan congratulates them, and Yona can't tell if he actually bought that lie. Later, she confronts her dad. He disapproves of Suan. Despite his talent and royal bloodline, the king refuses to support Suan taking the throne by marrying his daughter, shutting that down fast. The king admits he's a coward, but refuses to let Yona suffer the same fate her mother did. Upset, Yona storms off and bumps into a sketchy dude. She remembers her dad's warning. She panics, books it out of there, and the guy chases her. Suan finds her, she explains the creeper, but Suan doesn't see anyone around. Seeing she's terrified, he suggests taking her back to Hak. He still thinks they're engaged, but Yona finally confesses that she's actually in love with him. Suan admits he struggles to see her as a woman since she's always been like a kid. That's exactly what she wanted to hear. She might be clueless about politics, but she is 100% certain about her feelings for him. A few days later, Yona's birthday party arrives. Suan pulls her aside to give her a present, being all secretive. Her dad sees this and looks super annoyed. The gift turns out to be a hair ornament. Yona thinks it looks dumb, but Suan says he loves her hair. For the first time, she actually feels pretty. Hak shows up, ruining the moment. Yona heads to her room to chill. Hak tells Suan he senses a sketchy intruder in the castle. Hearing about Yona's scare earlier, he asks Suan to watch her while he goes to beef up security. That night, Yona decides to talk to her dad again. But when she gets there, the door is unlocked and the guards are gone. She walks in and freezes. Suan is there, driving a sword straight into the king's chest. Meanwhile, Hak runs into Minsu, the king's personal guard, while patrolling the castle grounds. They chat about Yona and Suan's drama. Knowing she's finally in love, Hak just wants her to be happy. Cut to Yona about to get executed by guards. Suddenly, Hak appears out of nowhere, saving her and wrecking the guys surrounding her. He demands an explanation from Suan about what the hell is happening. Yona is in shock that Suan could do this, but turns out he's been planning this betrayal for years. His allied soldiers knew to keep it quiet, with their main objective being to keep an eye on Hak. When Hak overhears the guards, he realizes the situation and demands to know how it went down. The guards attack him on sight, and he instantly strikes back. Suan tells Yona her dad was a cowardly pacifist, which ironically made him seem gentle and generous to others. Years ago, the old king gave the throne to Yona's dad instead of the eldest son. Suan's dad didn't want to rule. He just loved fighting to protect his people and his brother, Yona's father. Yona's dad. But after taking the throne, Yona's dad killed Suan's father, sparking this whole revenge plot. Suan didn't want to hurt Yona, counting on her never visiting the king's room at night. Then Kaisuk appears. Seeing the job is done but Yona is a witness, he tries to kill her to tie up loose ends. Yona knocks a candle over, starting a fire. This forces the soldiers to battle the flames. In the chaos, she escapes, but gets captured again almost immediately before Hak rescues her properly. Hak didn't want to get between them, but suspicious guard movement made him investigate. He confronts Suan to figure out what the actual hell is going on. Yona is just relieved Hak is there, since the king gave him strict orders to protect her no matter what. Hak finds out Suan killed the king and goes into a rage mode. He rushes Suan, demanding to know why he killed a man who hated war. Suan never wanted the throne, but he decides the country doesn't need a weak ruler anymore. They know Hak is a beast, but using Yona as leverage forces him to surrender. He gets surrounded, but a random arrow flies in, letting him break free and grab Yona. Minsu fired that arrow. Hak dumps Yona on him while he clears a path through the guards. They find a hiding spot, but escaping is a nightmare with that many guards swarming. Minsu decides to create a distraction since nobody suspects him yet. He puts on the princess's cloak and runs out to bait them. Hak uses that split second of confusion to smuggle Yona out of the fortress. Sadly, Minsu gets turned into a pincushion by archers and doesn't make it. Hak and Yona escape into the woods. Suan orders patrols to sweep the area, even though he knows finding them there is basically impossible. Hak knows these woods like the back of his hand, so he hides the princess safely among the trees. By morning, people realize the country's vibe is shifting. Suan gets no updates from his soldiers. Hak and Yona decide to bounce, figuring as long as they're alive, they can start over anywhere. Yona begs Hak to stay with her, and he hugs her, comforting her through the trauma. After hiding in the forest for a bit, Hak notices Yona getting weaker. She's definitely not built for this survivalist lifestyle. Backstory time: Hak is the grandson of a famous general. The king wanted him to take over the job, but Hak said no thanks, hating the court politics and power games that come with the gig. Plus, he wanted to avoid Yona, mostly because he loses his cool whenever she's nearby. But while trying to avoid her, Yona hides behind him after getting annoyed by T-Jun, the Fire Tribe chief's son. That's when Hak realized Yona was into Suan, even though she tried to keep it secret. Later, Hak asked his grandpa to let him leave, but got denied, so Yona chases him. She apologizes for acting weird earlier, drops off some fruit as a peace offering, and then awkwardly bails. Hak overhears the guards gossiping about the king, limiting his own power. But then T-Jun starts harassing the princess. The joke goes way too far, so Hak steps in to shut it down. To get rid of the creep, Hak pretends to be cozy with Yona, revealing he is actually the future High Chief of the Wind Tribe. The king arrives to de-escalate. He agrees Hak would make a perfect bodyguard. Hak's respect for the king spikes, seeing the guy actually get physical and take a hit just to stop T-Jun. This triggers a flashback to when the queen died, leaving both the king and Yona completely wrecked. Yet the princess decided to stay strong for her dad. Suan and Hak just wanted to help cheer her up. They start a snowball fight, which naturally results in Yona catching a cold. She wants her dad, but he is busy. Soon enough, Hak and Suan catch the plague and get sick too. Hak's grandpa drops by to check on them. Suan fanboys over the old man, dreaming of becoming a general himself. Hak mentions he is an orphan raised by the general. Suan's dad shows up, making Yona even more depressed that the king himself didn't bother coming. Rumor has it the king is avoiding her to stay healthy. But Hak defends the guy, saying he respects the king for prioritizing the country. Yona hears that forgiving her dad. Late that night, Yona gets hungry, so Suan grabs some snacks. The food is trash until the king walks in, admitting he cooked it himself to apologize for his absence. Yona forces it all down, appreciating the effort. Back in the present, Yona dreams of the boys. In the dream, she wants them together forever. Then she wakes up, forced to face the brutal reality. Hak sees she is barely functioning, walking around like a ghost, physically drained and emotionally destroyed. This makes Hak hate Suan's guts for putting the princess through this much hell. He finds the hairpin Suan gave her and pockets it. Later, Yona looks for it, but Hak plays dumb. She tries to kill her feelings but fails. She wanders off and immediately runs into a venomous snake. Hak has to save her and finally hands back the hairpin. It is the only thing keeping her together right now. They wait until Yona sees the snake bit Hak. He shrugs it off and with nowhere else to go, decides to head back to his home turf. Regular villages are too risky, with soldiers crawling everywhere. At the Wind tribe, everyone is shocked Hak returned. They don't recognize Yona, assuming she is just some girl he brought home. Hak demands food for her and asks where his grandfather Mundok is hiding. They say the generals were summoned for a meeting. Hak realizes nobody here has a clue about the coup yet. Meanwhile, the generals meet, and the Fire tribe leader starts grilling Hak's grandfather. Rumors claim Hak murdered the king and kidnapped the princess. Suan steps in to clear Hak's name, conveniently leaving out the part where he actually committed the crime. He argues the tribe's need to unite against outside threats. Everyone agrees he should take the throne. Hak's grandfather stays quiet, claiming he is retired and they need to ask the current general Hak. Basically saying, go ask him if it matters. Kaisuk warns the old man that staying silent looks like treason, given his close ties to the fugitive, so he decides to stay neutral. Suan announces his coronation is in 3 days and expects everyone to show up. Turns out, the Fire tribe chief was secretly backing Suan the entire time. They know Hak won't do anything stupid, because he doesn't want to endanger Yona or wreck the kingdom. Suan tells the Fire chief to get ready to crush a potential rebellion from the Wind tribe. Meanwhile, Yona wakes up and meets Yun, a kid who is basically a little brother to Hak. Yun asks about their relationship status, and she insists they are just friends. The other guys immediately roast Hak for getting friend-zoned, since she doesn't see him that way. Hak explains what fake identity she needs to use here. After eating, Yona goes for a walk and gets cornered by a random old lady. She heard Yona used to be a palace servant, who got fired for being terrible at the job. The lady makes her do laundry to make herself useful. Hak shows up to help, and they notice the village stream is completely bone dry. Hak sends some guys upstream to figure out why. Just then, Grandpa Mundok finally arrives back at the village. The scouts come back beaten up, reporting that the Fire tribe blocked the water source to starve the village out. Hearing this, the old man forbids anyone from doing anything stupid or rash. The Fire tribe is squeezing them because he didn't endorse Suan. He knows he can't fight back without pinning the king's murder on his missing grandson. If Hak surfaces now, he takes the fall. Meanwhile, T-Jun is back, delusional enough to think he has a shot with Yona if Hak hadn't ruined everything. Yona zones out when called for dinner, then suddenly collapses. They explain she has always been fragile and needs meds, which is just great timing. Right then, news hits that a merchant caravan was attacked, cutting off their supply of medicine and water. It is obviously a Fire tribe trap. Handi steps up, offering to sneak out and get the medicine she needs. Hak lets him go, but warns everyone not to start a fight they can't win, especially since the Fire tribe has royal backing now. Later, Hak pulls Yona aside to talk. She is spiraling, wondering what to do next. Hak tells her to stay here and be safe, then goes to hash things out with his grandfather. He suggests the old man accept Suwan's rule. Hak plans to leave the tribe permanently, removing the target from their backs so Yona is safe. Even if it brands him a traitor, he accepts the bad reputation and begs his grandpa to let Yona live there quietly. Mundok refuses to let his grandson leave, so Hak plays the tribal chief card to force the decision. That night, Hak hits the weapon shop, grabs gear, and says his goodbyes. Handi makes it back with the meds, managing to save her. Later, Yona talks to the old woman and checks the wreckage. Realizing she is endangering the whole village, she decides to bail. The next day, Yona runs after Hak, discovering he already said goodbye to Yun. Yun is crying, thanking Yona for their time together. Realizing she is leaving too. Yona had promised to look after Yun, but now she was bailing. Meanwhile, at the gate, Hak tells his men goodbye and orders them to protect Yona. But Yona refuses to stay. Hak insists she live a peaceful life here, but she chooses the road with him. He warns that he isn't her servant anymore, so protection is going to cost her. She has no money. He tries to push her away again, so Grandpa Mundok raises his bow, thinking his grandson is being a jerk to Yona. She eventually agrees to follow Hak's lead. Meanwhile, T-Jun figures out where they are and hunts them down. Following Grandpa's advice, they go looking for an exiled priest who used to advise the king before he got sick of the kingdom's drama. They hit the mountains. Hak warns it is going to be a rough night. To survive the freezing cold, Yona sleeps next to him. He complains about it but suddenly yanks her into hiding because he senses enemies creeping up on them. They run smack into T-Jun's squad, who are surprised to see them. Hak claims since he quit, the Wind tribe has nothing to do with this. Taejun attacks anyway. Hak effortlessly drops the entire squad. When the archers start firing, Hak grabs Yona and sprints, deflecting arrows like a pro. Yona trips and Hak shields her body, taking an arrow himself before dragging her to safety. They lose the tail briefly, but Hak decides to go back and finish the fight, leaving Yona hidden alone. Hak is surrounded, and Yona notices the arrow was poisoned. He is about to pass out any second. She refuses to be useless. Realizing she should have stayed home if she can't fight, she gathers her courage, takes down an archer and faces Taejun directly. He offers to help her regain the throne, but she asks why he backs Suan if he knows about the Wind tribe oppression. She calls him a total hypocrite and refuses the deal. Taejun is shocked she has a spine now. Hak scolds her for being reckless, but the poison hits hard and he collapses. He tries to fight but gets shoved to the cliff edge. Hak falls but grabs the ledge. Yona tries to pull him up. Taejun grabs her hair. She grabs a sword, chops off her hair and breaks free. Taejun holds his fire, watching her desperately try to save Hak. She isn't strong enough and they both plummet off the cliff. Taejun orders a search, but assumes they are essentially pancakes. That night he reports to Suan, handing over the hair as proof. He explains the disaster, convinced she is totally dead. He just wanted to capture her, but everything went south fast. He asks for punishment, but Suan just silently walks away. Meanwhile, a stranger finds their bodies in the woods. Finally, Suwan's coronation day arrives. Kaisuk mentions Hak's grandpa and the new general are attending. Suan is intrigued. He recalls how Hak was always waiting whenever he visited Yona. He admired Hak's strength, wanting him as a personal bodyguard. Hak even suggested Suan marry Yona to become king properly. Suan was conflicted, knowing becoming king meant losing his two best friends forever. But he believes sacrificing those bonds made him the man he is. At the ceremony, he breaks down the politics. The Fire clan is loyal but power-hungry. The Earth clan follows whoever is winning. The Water clan waits for opportunities. And the Wind clan, trained by Hak's grandpa, is basically a ticking time bomb of rebellion ready to explode. He needs to unite this mess to protect the kingdom from outsiders. Grandpa Mundog asks what he had to sacrifice to sit there. He says his mission is restoring greatness using people, not gods. Anyone in his way gets crushed. Mundok is surprised by the kids' steely resolve. Meanwhile, Yona wakes up and meets Yun, their savior. He explains Hak is in bad shape from the fall and playing human shield. She also meets a weird guy named Iksu. She hesitates to introduce herself, but he already knows everything. She realizes this is the exiled priest grandpa told her about. He delivers messages from gods. Apparently, his cryptic spoilers got him exiled by the previous king. Yona is curious. Yun realizes that for a princess, she is totally clueless about the real world. Suddenly, she sees Hak starting to wake up. Yun warns he has a fever, and without meds, he is going to suffer. Yona feels useless. She realizes she never even thanked Hak for saving her life. He risked it all. That inequality is exactly why Yun hates royalty. But Iksu says, the god of death is not here for him yet. Later, on a walk, Yona asks why he lives out here. He says he just follows life's flow and trusts the process. That night, Yona thanks Yun and asks about his backstory. He claims he is just the priest's guardian. Priests used to be so powerful, even kings obeyed them. Acting as God's voice, they could start wars or fire kings. Naturally, they became a threat. So Suwan's dad kicked Iksu out to secure his own power base. Yun dragged Iksu out here because the guy is too nice and gets exploited by everyone. The reason Yun took Iksu to such a remote place was that Iksu was way too kind, constantly helping people even if it meant hurting himself. So they hide here. Suddenly, Yona realizes Hak is gone. She panics and runs out, but he just went to grab his sword. She is sad he didn't ask for help, seeing his fresh wounds. Hak jokes, saying he wanted to see if she would cry over him. She refuses to be left behind again and bumps her forehead against his. He thinks she is checking for fever, so he just rolls with it. Hak apologizes for the haircut. She says she never cared about it, so no big deal. But he notices she still kept that hairpin. The next day, Hak realizes they are crashing at the priest's place. Yona talks to Iksu, who asks if she wants to hear the gods. Grandpa Mundok sent her here specifically for guidance. But honestly, she just wants a quiet life with Hak now. Iksu tells her she is the storm that will change the country. Then he drops the big prophecy on them. When 4 dragons gather, the true king returns. Hack thinks it is nonsense, but listens anyway. Legend says the Scarlet Dragon King was a god turned human. He was the first king, but humans betrayed him. 4 dragons came down to nuke humanity, but he begged them to stop. So they gave their blood to 4 warriors, creating super soldiers. One had claws, one had eyes, one jumped, one was strong. They united the clans, served the king, then vanished into history. Iksu says Yona is in danger. Hack alone cannot protect her forever. She needs to find the legendary dragon warriors. Their descendants are out there right now. She has to find them. The gods showed the path, and she has the strength to walk it. Surviving this long proves she has a special destiny. That night silence falls. Hack carries the weight alone. Yona almost tosses the hairpin, but can't do it. Later, Hack asks if she is really sure about this crazy quest. She is determined to find the dragons and demands he teach her fighting. He agrees, not wanting her to be a burden or dead. Iksu decides Yun is going with them and trims Yona's hair properly. Yona realizes Yun is actually a genius who knows everything. He claims he can memorize any book instantly. He studies to help Iksu, but he makes it clear he isn't working for free. He plans to send the bill directly to Hack's grandfather. That's when she realizes Grandpa Mundok is a big deal, not just a nice old guy. To her, he was just the kindly grandpa who liked kids. Yun has always secretly wanted to travel the world. Yona tells Iksu she can't separate them, they are basically family. The thought of splitting them up hurts her. Yun overhears this and confronts Iksu about it later. Iksu pushes him out, not a burden, wants him to fly. He trusts he can survive on his own. Yun almost throws away his medical book, but hesitates. He just can't bring himself to do it. Suddenly, Hack shows up grilling fish. Yun asks why he risks so much for her. Hack admits she is the most important thing in his life. Yun thinks back to his childhood. He was poor, stealing to survive. He tried to rob Iksu, who had nothing but was still kind. Because of that, Yun let him crash at his place and treated his injuries. The next day, Iksu gave him a potato. Yun realizes Iksu traded his own shoes for that food. He can't wrap his head around how anyone can be that recklessly generous. Iksu explains that the world is full of weirdos, and he generally avoids the capital. Yun always dreamed of escaping his poverty, hitting the big city, and actually getting an education. Despite his rough life, he could read and was desperate to learn. Iksu promised to help, claiming his only job was following God's will to reduce suffering. He taught Yun to weave straw sandals. Yun wanted to stick around, but eventually Iksu just bylaid on him, leaving the kid with nothing but hope to see him again. Yun hustled, selling sandals for cash until one day, he finally managed to track Iksu down. Iksu admitted he tried to find books for the kid but failed, looking totally defeated. He planned to visit Yun once more before becoming a hermit, but Yun refused to leave, deciding to move in and nag him forever. Back in the present, Iksu finds Yun and hands him a pair of handmade sandals. They are garbage, but Yun makes a fresh pair for the priest too. Thanks to the shoes, Iksu can actually walk around on his own. Yun realizes the clumsy priest can actually survive solo. So he decides to leave with the group and follow his gut. The squad packs up to leave, and Hack is baffled by how much junk Yona is carrying. She shows off her inventory and says goodbye to Iksu, promising to visit soon. Iksu says he will be fine alone. Yona takes the lead while Hack follows. Hack finally accepts that she is really doing this. Meanwhile, Suan is busy purging corrupt nobles and cleaning house at the castle. The old king was weak, letting ambitious men run wild, so Suan has to shut that down immediately. He finds a book on the Crimson Dragon King, sparking nostalgia. But he believes the country needs strong policy, not legends. Yona's group continues the trek, trying to reach the Empire's border. According to Iksu, the dragon warriors are nomads, making them incredibly annoying to actually locate. There is a guardian tribe isolated on a border mountain, which is their first pit stop to find clues. Hack gets paranoid whenever people get close, terrified someone will recognize the princess. He is overthinking it. Most peasants don't know what she looks like. Yona tells him to chill out, especially since he is still recovering from injuries. She wants to see what life is actually like for normal people. They stop at a village to grab some food. Hack goes shopping, establishing a meeting point by a tree. Just in case things go sideways, he buys a bow and considers a knife for Yona, but decides he can handle the protection duty solo. Yona hears Suan is officially king now. She is just relieved to hear the Wind Tribe is safe and doing well. The shopkeeper tries to upsell her, but she wanders off and bumps into trouble. She spots Fire Tribe soldiers and quickly regroups with Hack. Reading the room, he decides they need to leave town immediately. On the road, locals are gossiping about the new government. Taxes are lower, which is great, but the Fire Tribe soldiers are everywhere, which is annoying everyone. Yona sticks to the forest routes to avoid the royal family's spies. She begs Hack to teach her to fight again, but he shuts her down. He says she should only learn if she is actually prepared to kill someone if necessary. She insists she just wants to escape danger. Hack caves, giving her the bow but telling her to stay in the backline during fights. He orders her to fire 200 practice shots daily. He also wants her to figure out exactly why her dad hated weapons so much. She practices aiming at small animals, but after hours she hasn't hit a single thing. He demonstrates, but he is a terrible teacher because he is a natural. It is hard for a genius to teach a newbie. Yona thinks he sucks at teaching, but really she just lacks the muscle to pull the string back. Once she gets stronger, she will figure it out. Yona stays committed to the grind. Hack notices she is training all night, even though her hands are completely wrecked. Her technique is improving, but she is basically destroying her fingers in the process. Hack knows archery but prefers swords. He believes if you fight, you need to be up close and personal. If you pick up a weapon, you accept the weight of murder. Hesitation gets you killed. Hack's survival secret is having zero mercy for enemies. The next day, Yona freezes on the road. She wants to hunt a boar. She understands that holding a weapon means taking something from a living creature. Her dad would hate this, but they need to eat to survive out here. She misses the shot. Hack sighs and tells Yun to go on ahead. Hack tells her she doesn't have the guts to kill yet. She can hit targets but not living things. He tells her to aim at him and pretend he is chasing her. Hack is cocky, thinking he can dodge, but when she imagines he is Suan, she fires a shot that actually slices his cheek. Hack realizes she needs work. He emphasizes she shouldn't worry about killing but focus on protecting him, since that is her job now. They catch up to Yun and find his luggage dumped on the ground. Suddenly, voices demand they get lost. Hack clears the mist, revealing a group of mountain villagers. They notice the red hair and ask who she is. She explains they are following a priest's advice, hunting for the dragon warriors. Turns out this is the White Dragon's village. Talk about lucky. Meanwhile, Yun is in a cage, coughing to warn them. But they get captured and dragged in anyway. However, the moment Yona speaks, they immediately release her. Hack notes the mood shift the second they saw the red hair. The elder apologizes for roughing up her friends. They treat her hair like a holy relic or something. It resembles the hair of their original master, the king whom the first White Dragon served. They think she is the chosen one. Hack asks if everyone here has dragon powers, but apparently only one guy has the magic hand. The warrior appears, showing off a giant arm. The elder has pampered him his whole life. But without a master, his power is basically useless. There was no guarantee the master would ever show up, so he was stuck waiting. The elder suggested he just get married and keep the bloodline going. But he wasn't interested in settling down. The White Dragon hears strangers are in town and gets curious about the commotion. He shows up. Assuming they are trouble, he prepares to confront them. Yona grabs a knife, trying to work up the nerve to recruit him to their squad. Seeing her armed, he is convinced she is a threat. He approaches but then sees the red hair and completely freezes. His dragon blood reacts, pulling up ancient memories from his DNA. His purpose is to serve the Crimson Dragon King's heir. He doesn't know the timeline, but his dad swore that when the master appears, the dragon blood will just know. It is basically an instinctual reboot for his life. He instantly accepts Yona as his leader, and the whole village bows down. Yona realizes they think she is the king reincarnated. She doesn't see herself as a queen, just someone borrowing their power to survive. But it doesn't matter. The White Dragon is following her because his blood says so. He tells the elder he is leaving immediately, but the elder insists on throwing a farewell party first. During the feast, Yona is shocked at how easy this was. Hack asks for supplies for the road. The White Dragon hands him a bag of cash, telling Hack he is fired and can go home now. Hack is not amused. He tells the pampered noble to watch his mouth. The tension is thick. Hack calls the White Dragon useless and suggests they just find literally anyone else to help. Yona asks what is going on. She finds out he tried to pay Hak to leave. Hak refused the offer but kept the money anyway. The dragon insists Hak is not a warrior and is therefore redundant. Yona declares she needs Hak. He is essential personnel. The dragon assumes Hak is weak if they need supernatural bodyguards. Hak fires back that he isn't weak enough to rely on a white lizard. That night they celebrate. The elder, who raised generations of dragons, finally sees one of them leave to actually do his job. The next morning, the white dragon actually joins the squad, shocking everyone in the village. The elder packs them a ton of supplies, totally bummed that he can't wake up his precious boy every morning anymore. He just hopes he stays alive long enough to see him return one day. The group departs. They have zero leads on the other warriors, but the white dragon claims his internal GPS is connected to them somehow. Yona asks for his actual name, which apparently catches him off guard. It is Kija. Hak relentlessly bullies Kija on the road until Yona steps in to referee the bickering. She tells the dragon to just ignore the troll. She asks Kija to point the way. He focuses intensely, points dramatically, tries to lead, and immediately falls into a pit of centipedes, proving he has zero survival skills outside his bubble. After fishing him out, Yona suggests he walk in the back. Suddenly, both warriors sense enemies nearby. The non-fighters hide. Hak expects Fire Tribe soldiers, but it turns out to be random bandits. The two fighters charge in without hesitation. The bandits think numbers will save them. Spoiler, they won't. Kija unleashes the dragon arm and starts wrecking people. Hak is impressed by the strength, but refuses to be outdone. So he shows off his own skills. Kija gets mad at Hak for the lizard comment. They hate each other but respect the combat ability. Yona decides she wants in on the action. Yun asks if she wants to actually be useful. He helps her aim the bow. With his help, she scares off a bandit trying to ambush Hak. She hits the mark. Yun gives great instructions, but when he tries to shoot himself, he is absolutely terrible at it. Eventually, they chase the bandits away. Kija realizes his dragon arm just ran out of juice. Hak collapses when his old wounds reopen. Kija is stunned that Hak fought that hard while practically half-dead. He picks Hak up, carrying him easily with the overpowered dragon arm. Turns out only the right arm is strong, the rest is noodle. Kija notices Yona has guts. She didn't flinch at the bandits and jumped in to protect her bodyguard. She says after what she has been through, nothing really scares her anymore. This makes Kija genuinely want to follow her. He respects that level of determination. That night, Kija is horrified to discover their dinner is just random forest weeds. Yona doesn't complain. It beats Hak's cooking, which is barely edible. Hak wakes up. Yona tries to spoon-feed him, but Kija intervenes immediately, refusing to let the princess serve a peasant. Yun takes the opportunity to ask where they can find the blue dragon. Kija says that clan used to live in Earth Tribe territory but vanished. Despite the disappearance, Kija still senses the blue dragon's presence, so he is definitely alive. Yun triangulates the location, and they decide to sweep the nearby villages starting the next day. Kija is absolutely shook to learn they sleep outside on the dirt. By morning, the noble looks like a sleep-deprived zombie. Yun warns they need to be stealthy to avoid the Fire Tribe patrols, which is laughable considering they are a red-haired girl, a famous general, and a guy with a giant mutant hand. Subtlety is not their strong suit. Yun comes up with a scan-and-run strategy for the villages. Kija will try to sense the dragon. If he gets no signal, they bail immediately. Hak puts his memory to good use. He marks the Fire Tribe military bases on the map, so they don't accidentally walk into death. This speeds things up. Still, they waste a whole day searching without finding a thing. Kija keeps pointing north, suggesting the blue dragon hasn't crossed the border yet. Noticing Yona is crashing, Yun gives her a sedative to force her to sleep. That night, Kija feels useless, thinking he is just dragging everyone down and wasting their limited energy on wild goose chases. He wishes the blue dragon would just come to them. Suddenly, the sound of arrows hitting a tree wakes him up. Hak explains that despite having bodyguards, she insists on secret night training so she isn't helpless when things go wrong. Next morning, Yona checks on him, knowing the city boy isn't built for sleeping on rocks. Kija realizes he actually likes her. She isn't just a master, she is essential. Yona figures the blue dragon is hiding off the grid, probably in the blind spots of the map, making him a nightmare to track. Eventually, they find a creepy, isolated village right on the border edge. As they arrive, the locals come out to stare at them. Kija instantly senses the blue dragon is here, but these people aren't the original clan. They are just some random tribe. Yona plays it cool, asking to crash there for the night so Hack can finally rest and heal. The elder agrees but warns that the village is a maze. Going out solo is a great way to get permanently lost. Yona asks about the creepy masks. The elder claims it is just a tradition for single people. They get shown to their room, but immediately sneak out to hunt for the dragon. They search, but every path is a dead end. Yun gets a bad vibe, feeling eyes on them and fears exposure. He calls for a retreat. On the way back, Yona finds a hidden tunnel and enters without telling anyone. She spots a squirrel and gets distracted, chasing the rodent like a child, totally failing to realize she left the group behind. It goes pitch black. Suddenly, she bumps into a stranger who offers to help. After walking a while, Yona gets suspicious and tries to bail. Suddenly, a masked guy saves her. Turns out he owns the squirrel. Meanwhile, Hack and the boys are panicking. She gets returned safely. Kija instantly realizes the delivery guy was actually the blue dragon himself. But the guy sprints away without a word. Flashback time. When the blue dragon was born, they masked him immediately because of his cursed eyes. The villagers didn't see a hero, they saw a monster. He grew up with the previous blue dragon, both of them isolated and rejected by the entire village. The old mentor was cold and distant. He believed their paralyzing vision was nothing but a burden. The villagers' fear warped into hatred. The cycle was brutal. When one dragon died, the power immediately jumped to a new baby born right there. As the kid got stronger, the old man slowly went blind. They still protected the village from attacks. The elder taught the kid swordsmanship, so he wouldn't have to rely on the eyes. He was harsh because he wanted the kid to have an easier life, begging him never to use the power. When the old man finally lost his sight completely, he was actually relieved. He was free from the curse and could finally die as a normal human. The new blue dragon put bells on his mask so people could hear him coming. Soon after the old man died, enemies attacked the village in force. Ignoring the warnings, the kid used his eyes to slaughter the invaders, keeping his distance to avoid scaring his own people. Yona sees his good heart. He is confused because when he saved her, his blood reacted violently, just like Kija's did. He heard a voice in his head but has no idea who it belongs to or why his body is freaking out. He was shocked that his blood boiled when he saw Kija, instantly recognizing the white dragon. He hides because he is terrified of showing his power again. He believes he only brings misery to people. Back in the present, Kija is furious the villagers let Yona wander off. Yun realizes they are the invaders here. To the blue dragon and the villagers, Yona's group are just dangerous strangers trespassing. Even so, Yona is stubborn. She wants to go back into the tunnel and talk to him. Kija and Yun decide to go with her, while Hack surprisingly stays behind. Yona wants Hack to guard the villagers just in case, while she tries to recruit the dragon personally. Hack makes her promise to come back in one piece, or he is never letting her out of his sight again. He also tells Kija to do his job and keep her safe. Hack knows the villagers are watching them, so he stands guard to prevent chaos. Inside the tunnel, Kija senses a tail. He tells Yona and Yun to push forward while he stays to hold off the villagers. They tell him to leave, but Kija makes it clear he will fight anyone who threatens his master. Meanwhile, Yona and Yun manage to find the blue dragon again. She approaches and asks for his name. He denies having a name, threatening her with a sword. Then his squirrel jumps on her, and suddenly he feels a desperate need to actually know her. She asks for help. He claims anyone seeking his power is an enemy. Yona clarifies she doesn't want the power, she just wants a friend. He insists his power is a curse, too dangerous for the world, and tells her to leave. Not knowing how to push back, Yona and Yun awkwardly retreat. The dragon is desperate for a friend, but forces himself to stay lonely. Yona leaves but feels totally gutted about abandoning the poor guy there. Outside, Kija is blocking the angry villagers who want to silence Yona for finding their secret. She asks why the dragon is a curse. No one answers, so Kija steps in to defend her. Suddenly, the entire cave starts shaking and collapsing. Kija shields Yona. She runs to help, but rocks immediately block the path. Trapped, he uses all his strength to clear the way. Yona wakes up, realizing the villagers are trapped in there too. Yun panics, knowing if they don't act fast, they will run out of air. Kija claws at the rocks to dig an exit. The villagers freak out, realizing there is another dragon monster. Yona demands to know why the power is cursed. They explain a child with the blue dragon eyes is always born in the village. If one dies, another instantly appears. This terrifies them, fearing their own kids might get the curse. They don't want the power. The terror comes from the fact that the dragon, even as a toddler, slaughtered soldiers with his sheer strength. So they lock him away from the world completely. The blue dragon appears. The villagers are horrified, assuming Kija is here for revenge. Instead, his mask falls off, revealing a gentle face to Yona. The villagers think eye contact turns them to stone, so he quickly jams the mask back on. He grabs an axe and moves forward, not to kill them, but to dig them out. He tells Kija that digging here is faster, so Kija helps him. Yona joins in. Yun screams at the villagers to help if they want to live. The villagers try to save a trapped kid. The dragon says they can explain the abuse later, just dig now. Yona passes out from exhaustion. Kija suggests the blue dragon carry her so she can recover. Just for a bit. Yona shares her backstory with him. She explains surviving 15 years of palace isolation and the recent trauma, showing him she is tougher than she looks and understands his loneliness. Recovered, she resumes digging. The dragon realizes that maybe he could actually be free if he stays by her side. They keep digging until Hak smashes through the wall from the outside. Seeing Yona, he hugs her, wishing she never had to deal with this garbage again. Outside the cave, Yona invites the blue dragon to join them again. He realizes following her is his only shot at freedom, so he finally agrees to join the squad. During the trip, the bell falls off his mask. He leaves it in the dirt, symbolically dumping his tragic past behind him. In the new group, the dragon stays pretty quiet. Kija can't sense the other dragons anymore because he exhausted his battery using so much power. Yun asks if the blue dragon has dragon GPS too, but he has no clue. Kija assumes he just needs practice and offers to teach. Suddenly, the blue dragon sprints off. They panic, but he just went to catch fish to help Kija recharge his energy. But he gets cold, so the group builds a fire to cook dinner. The dragon tries Yun's cooking and shocks everyone by actually thanking Yona out loud. The weird part is, while everyone calls her princess, he just casually uses her real name. That night, Yun suggests giving the guy a name. He tells Yona she should pick it, since she saved him from loneliness. Plus, the guy clearly likes her. He was never scared of her, even when she held a knife. Yun admits he used to look down on Yona, since he always hated spoiled nobles and royalty. He decides he wants to call her Yona too, dropping the whole Your Highness title. Claiming the title is too long, Yona laughs and calls him cute. Later, Yona goes to fetch water and bumps into Hak. She knows he is following her. She asks him to keep calling her princess, not by her name, because only he should remember she was once the king's daughter. Hak agrees, then admits he was losing his mind while digging her out. Yona asks Hak to help name the blue dragon. Hak thinks the guy has a moonlight vibe. Seeing him in the moonlight, Yona names him Shinar, but they will call him Shin for short. The dragon accepts the name, seeming to love it. That night, Shin whispers to his squirrel that he finally has a name and will do anything to honor it. Next morning, Yona checks on Kija. He claims he can finally sense where the green dragon is hiding. They head in the direction Kija points. Being near the capital, Shin's telescopic vision is a game changer, letting them spot trouble from miles away. They use safe routes, dodging every ambush thanks to him. Kija is happy to have Shin as a buddy. They find a nearly abandoned village with starving locals left behind. Drought has totally devastated this place. The men were drafted for the army, leaving the village neglected and forgotten by the nation. Disease spread fast, and those who couldn't leave were trapped. Starving to death, the misery reminds Yun of his own childhood. The Fire Tribe chief only cares about the army, letting his people rot. They help a man on the road. He complains the old king was a terrible ruler, unable to handle the kingdom's needs. Tribes started hating each other, and the people suffered with zero support. He hopes the new king brings change. Yona excuses herself, claiming she needs the bathroom to step away. Really, she just needs to be alone. Yun admits he never respected the old king either. History will remember him as a naive dreamer who chased peace while the country fell apart. Yet Hak always admired the guy. Yona bears the burden of her father's failure, sitting down to cry. Shin's squirrel cheers her up, helping her pull it together. That night she practices archery, determined to get strong enough to protect her friends. Meanwhile, Suan travels to the Earth Tribe territory. The chief is stressed, feeling his people are being forgotten. Trade is drying up, and their resources are shrinking every single season. He lost his drive when Yona's dad became king and banned all conflicts, so he greets Suan with suspicion, since he is the son of a legendary leader. Suan asks for tea. He brought the Sky Tribe chief, and the two leaders are complete opposites. The tension is instant, creating a subtle rivalry in the room. The Earth Chief thinks Suan looks soft, lacking the warrior vibe of his father, wanting to test if the kid is actually capable. He agrees to a walk. During the tour, the chief is shocked to hear a mine collapsed. His aide asks why Suan is here, doubting it is just tourism. Suan dodges the question, claiming he is just traveling. The chief gets blunt. He demands Suan keep his promise to fix the kingdom, saying he doesn't trust pretty words, warning that if Suan brings ruin, he will lead a rebellion himself. Suan takes it calmly, knowing he gave his word. Walking on, Suan gets curious about a local shrine worshipping a stone. The chief calls it a dumb tradition. He leaves. Suan asks the servant for details. The servant explains the chief lost his mojo, feeling aimless in a time of forced peace. Guilt-ridden for failing his land, Suan respects the guy and realizes he needs to wake the chief up by giving him a new purpose to fight for. Suddenly, the servant returns with news of a battle, which gets the chief instantly excited. He rushes to find Suan, only to find it is a friendly game. Actually, Suan wants to organize a festival to involve the whole population. The Sky and Earth Chiefs hate this festival idea, convinced Suan is ignoring actual problems just to throw a party. They fear he is worse than the dead king. But the show must go on. The Earth Chief hates Suan's weird outfit choice, but his wife picked it out, so he has to wear it. He finds out his wife is besties with Suan now. Seeing the crowd hyped for the show, he wonders if this actually has value. He starts rethinking the whole situation. Suan finally explains the game rules. Everyone wears a fragile bowl on their head. Smash an opponent's bowl to score points, with the amount depending on their social rank. The three classes are commoner, noble, and king. Same class fights are fair game, but cross-class duels have strict rules. Kings can hit nobles but not commoners. Nobles can strike commoners, and commoners can attack the king, creating a rock-paper-scissors mess. Lose your bowl and you are out, unless your team wins a spare. The team with the most surviving bowls takes the win. The Earth Chief seriously doubts Suan can even throw a punch. Despite knowing hack, since nobody knows his true power, the Sky Chief claims the Earth Chief only respects brutes and underestimates quiet guys like Suan. When the match starts, Suan steps onto the field looking like a skinny, totally unimpressive weakling. He faces the crowd, but immediately hides behind his soldiers like a coward. These 5 soldiers are actually Earth Tribe guys, just there to fill the roster spots. They consider letting their boss win, but realize that would make him look pathetic. So they decide to obey Suan and actually try to win. The chief can't attack commoners, so he stands there uselessly until a noble steps in to help, only to get instantly knocked out. As the brawl shifts to noble-on-noble violence, the Earth Chief is finally allowed to fight, smashing them down one by one. While Suan wanders around looking for targets, he gets hunted down by the enemy commoners. The Earth team runs into the Sky Chief. Since he is a noble, the Earth Chief starts beating the daylight out of him. But the Sky Chief is allowed to defend himself, desperately protecting his bowl. Meanwhile, Suan shakes off his pursuers, tricking them into breaking each other's bowls in the chaos. He rushes to free his jailed teammates, which annoys the Earth Chief enough to charge him. Suan casually deflects a wooden sword aimed right at the Chief's face. In that split second, the Chief realizes Suan is not just some random guy. He is hiding his skills, pretending it was all dumb luck. Suan saves the prisoners, but this creates a tactical mess for everyone involved. He has more allies now, but they are just walking targets for the enemy team to farm points from. Suan gets chased again, leaving the chief wondering if he is a genius or just lucky. Suddenly, a massive gust of wind ruins the Earth Chief's formation. Someone asks the soldiers who came up with these crazy battle tactics. They admit it was all Suan, who somehow predicted the wind like a weather wizard. The chief realizes he misjudged the guy. Suan engineered the Earth Tribe's defeat from the start, picking only the most obedient men to pull it off. The Earth Tribe is totally finished. Surrounded and alone, the chief looks at Suan and realizes the harmless squirrel is actually a hunting hawk. Suan offers him a chance to revive his team to save face and keep fighting. The chief refuses, saying nobody gets a second life in a real war. He would fight 1,000 enemies all by himself. The chief charges Suan for a final duel. Suan conveniently trips, and the chief smashes his bowl, winning the match with his own hands. Days later, the chief is still confused by the visit, until his wife reveals her tea was sold to merchants and marketed to major countries. The plantations simply cannot keep up with demand. Suan suggested scarcity creates value, so she should keep the tea as a high-priced regional exclusive. Simultaneously, a miner reports they need to expand operations immediately, but they lack the manpower to dig. Those useless stones have been turned into expensive jewelry. Thanks to artisans, the chief unknowingly modeled them during the festival. With the economy fixed, Suan quietly leaves. By the time the chief realizes the genius behind it all, the king is already long gone. His real goal was locking down the Earth Tribe's loyalty. Their high morale and military strength are essential for future wars. The chief now trusts Suan, seeing more potential in him than even his famous father. Meanwhile, Yona's squad hits a port city, where Yun suspects the Green Dragon is hiding out. Hak knows this place, while Kija is completely wiped out from the trip. Yun suggests searching the town, but moving as a freak show group attracts way too much attention. So Hak decides to investigate solo. Yona tries to tag along, but Hak shuts her down, telling her to sleep since she looks exhausted. He dumps the weapons with Yun and hits the streets alone. Hak notices the city looks even more depressing than he remembers. Corrupt soldiers are bullying locals, which instantly ticks him off. He and a green-haired guy jump in to save a woman, fighting off the guards and escaping. The green-haired guy dumps the girl on Hak and sprints away. He rushes back to a ship in the harbor. The captain greets him, knowing he was out causing chaos again. But he mentions sensing the white and blue dragons nearby. At night, Hak returns and decides to grab supplies in town the next morning. Meanwhile, Yun and Kija figure out the Green Dragon is on a ship. The next day, they lead the search. Hak trails behind, keeping his mouth shut about the fight with the guards to avoid dragging the group into his legal trouble. Yun finds it weird, since Hak is usually glued to Yona's side. Kija leads them to a ship, but the dragon's aura suddenly disappears completely. That is because the Green Dragon already bumped into Hak downtown. He admits he is being stalked and asks Hak for cover, so they duck into a tavern. Hak asks why the city is dead. The dragon explains a corrupt lord took over and is squeezing the life out of the people. Valuing his freedom, he plans to fight the system. Suddenly, Yun and Yona spot Hak in the bar. He tries to explain, but the Green Dragon uses the distraction to vanish. Hak tries to justify why the guy bolted, saying the dragon sensed his annoying white cousin and got spooked. The Green Dragon hates the whole protect the master destiny, so he spends his life running from it. Hak leads the group through back alleys to dodge soldiers. They run into the woman he saved earlier. She takes them to her shop, and Hak explains the situation, confirming the city is run by a total scumbag lord. His soldiers abuse power to terrorize everyone. They trash shops, kidnap women, and demand insane taxes, effectively killing all trade in the port. Yona finally gets why the locals look so miserable. Yun asks about pirates. The woman says they leave locals alone. They only hit the Lord's ships. That night, the Green Dragon sneaks onto a ship and confirms it is smuggling illegal drugs. His pirate crew shows up and raids the vessel. Legends say Yeehaw, the Green Dragon, has a wicked special ability. His powerful legs let him jump impossibly high. The pirates win the battle easily. The captain orders them to burn the drug ship down. She reminds the crew that killing is strictly forbidden. They only strike when they can win without bloodshed, ensuring perfect success. Later, the captain notices Yeehaw is zoning out. He admits he can't stop thinking about fighting alongside Hak the other night. The crew knows his secret, but nobody cares about his weird powers. He actually loves this crew. He left his village 13 years ago for freedom and finally found a home here. The captain was gearing up to crush the local lord, assembling a squad to end his reign. She needed every ounce of power available. Her crew was basically family, and she refused to lose a single one. Knowing Yeehaw met Hak, she told him to go recruit the beast immediately. Yeehaw knew Hak was already taken, but he went back the next day anyway, ready to be a total nuisance. Meanwhile, Hak's squad was wandering around, hunting for the Green Dragon. They saw soldiers bullying locals but couldn't step in. Yun explained the guards were salty about a pirate heist, and interfering now would just blow their cover completely. It wasn't worth drawing the entire army's attention. Once things cooled down, they moved out, but Hak wandered off solo again. Since Hak was a wanted man, Yeehaw figured now was the perfect time to chat. They met up and realized they were both on the most wanted list, tearing down their own posters like rebels. Yeehaw tried to recruit him, but Hak thought the guy was a creep. He rejected the offer by punching Yeehaw straight in the face to create distance. Unfazed, Yeehaw bounced back, forcing Hak to tactically retreat. Hak regrouped with Yona, but Yeehaw wasn't giving up that easily. Even knowing Hak was committed to a job, Yeehaw was dead set on poaching him for the pirate crew. But he slipped up and Kija spotted him. Yona's group went back to the shop, only to find the soldiers had murdered a child from the family. Yun checked the body, but it was already too late. Yona was absolutely crushed, hating herself for not being able to stop the tragedy. If this place had been rotting since her father's reign, she decided she would be the one to fix it. Kija knew the Green Dragon's lore, specifically how they tried to seal him in a vase. Kija carried the vase, but Yeehaw overheard he was destined to serve a master and decided to break out. He smashed the vase and bolted, declaring he had his own dreams and refused to be a servant. Back in the present, Yeehaw tracked Hak down again, pestering him to join the pirates. Hak kept saying no until Yona arrived. Suddenly, Yeehaw's body just reacted. He dropped to his knees, overwhelmed by the dragon blood boiling in his veins. He realized she was his master, but his stubborn brain still refused to give up his freedom. Yona sensed he was the Green Dragon, and Kija confirmed the match. Yeehaw realized the dragon bond was way stronger than he thought possible. Still, he made it crystal clear he wasn't going to be her lackey. Yona explained she wasn't forcing anyone, she just wanted his help, and if he said no, she would actually respect it. Hearing he was a pirate, she asked to meet his captain. She was furious about the city's suffering and wanted to team up against the corrupt lord. Yeehaw agreed to let her, and Hak boarded the ship the next morning. After prepping with Yun, the squad headed out to meet the pirate boss at dawn. The captain wasn't impressed yet, so she ordered her crew to jump them as a test. Hak and the dragons mopped the floor with them, so she turned to interrogate Yun. He couldn't fight, but he proved he was basically a genius. With Yona, however, things were complicated. She had no special skills, but the captain liked the fire in her eyes and decided to give her a suicide mission. She ordered Yona to retrieve the Celestial Blessing herb, which shocked the entire crew. Even tough guys failed at this. How was a princess supposed to survive it? The rare plant grew on a deadly cliff, but it possessed potent healing properties they desperately needed. Yona didn't even hesitate. Then the captain dropped the bomb. The cliff was too fragile for a group, so Yona had to do this completely alone. She still said yes. Yeehaw showed her the spot, pointing out a nightmare trail leading to a tiny cave where the herb grew. That's where the prize was. Yona started the climb, clinging to rocks until the wind nearly blew her off. Her legs froze up in pure terror. Shin's squirrel and Yeehaw tried to coach her from the safe zone. Honestly, even Yeehaw thought this was impossible. If he was scared, she was doomed. There was no way she survives this. Yet this girl was way tougher than the one who made him kneel earlier. Yeehaw questioned if she was really their leader, shouting down that she could quit without shame. But Yona refused to back down now. Quitting meant failure. Trembling, she explained that this mission was her only way to be useful. If someone got hurt in battle, these herbs could save their lives. That's why she pushed on. She feared losing her friends more than she feared falling. Technically, she had to be alone, but Yeehaw shadowed her from a distance, just in case gravity won. The path got so skinny even he couldn't fit, so she really was on her own for the final stretch. She forced herself forward, fighting panic. Finally, she grabbed the stupid plant. She cheered, but nature hated that, so a massive wave slammed into the cliff. Yeehaw panicked. Luckily, she caught a vine. He tried to help, but she refused. She didn't want to fail the captain's test. Then another wave hit, and Yeehaw grabbed her anyway. Screw the rules. They both knew nobody would blame them. Besides, Yeehaw's code didn't allow him to let girls die. He couldn't just watch her drown. Hak and the gang were freaking out, running to the cliff to check on her. Seeing the drop, Kija looked like he was going to vomit. They wanted to save her, but the captain stopped them. This was a trial of courage, and interfering would only insult her. Saving her would mean she was weak, but then Yeehaw appeared with Yona safe and sound, and the relief was palpable. She handed over the herb, but immediately confessed she cheated. admitting Yeehaw saved her at the last second. She wanted a redo, but the captain laughed, saying she appreciated the honesty. If Yeehaw hadn't saved her, the captain would have killed him herself. Mission accomplished. Hak just looked happy she wasn't a smear on the rocks. Yeehaw asked Hak if guarding her was exhausting. Hak admitted it was brutal. Yeehaw joked that he had aged 10 years just watching her climb that cliff. He usually had girl trouble, but Yona was different, too determined, too innocent. She was someone he'd already risked his life for. Yeehaw pressed Hak about what was really going on between them. Hak claimed he just wanted to protect someone important. But Yeehaw sensed a wall. They were close, but Hak kept his distance. It was like Hak was afraid of getting too close. Hak realized he saw her as a little sister, keeping safe the land that once belonged to her and Suan. His whole life revolved around that promise, watching her fight to survive. He was fulfilling his vow to the dead king, expecting zero reward for it. Later, Hak checked her hands, which were completely shredded from the cliff climb. He applied honey to the cuts, thinking about Yeehaw's words. He realized he buried his feelings deep to avoid crossing a line he couldn't uncross. Distracted, he let honey drip and instinctively licked it off her hand. Yona freaked out and ran, proving those buried feelings weren't exactly dead. That night, the captain confessed she planned to disband the pirates after this battle. She was tired of seeing her loved ones get hurt. She wanted peace and asked Yona to please take Yeehaw with her when she left. Meanwhile, Yun spotted 7 warships in the harbor, all prepped for a fight. The captain gathered the crew. The enemy was moving heavy numbers because a massive deal was going down. The client was foreign, and the cargo was human women and children. Their goal was to crush the pirates. The captain pointed to the map where they would ambush them. The hard part was timing. They had to identify which ship held the hostages before the enemy used them as shields. They needed intel to pull this off without casualties and finally wipe those traffickers off the map. Next day, everyone was scrambling. Yona felt useless because she didn't have a job yet. She asked to help, but everyone was too busy to babysit her. Yeehaw suggested they go sightseeing and took her for a flight. From the air, they saw the Lord. Civilians hid in terror whenever his carriage rolled by. From the air, Yona spots a girl in a terrible disguise. Turns out she is hiding from the local lord. She heard about a high-paying job, which is always a red flag, and went to a shop with her friend. Her friend, who was prettier, got called into a back room and just vanished into thin air. The girl realized the shop is a front for the Lord's trafficking ring and went into hiding. Yeehaw comforts her, saying abduction means she is likely still alive, then goes to investigate the shop himself. An employee leaks that recruitment ends tomorrow, meaning the clock is ticking. The Lord waits for a big catch before closing the deal, so everything goes down tomorrow. Now they need a plan to rescue the victims. Yona volunteers to act as bait, planning to sneak aboard and signal the team. Hak and the boys hate this idea, claiming it is way too dangerous. If caught, she is dead, but she argues there is no time to search every ship. Saving lives matters more. Yona wins the argument. The captain agrees but insists she needs a partner for backup. Hak immediately volunteers, but the traffickers are only looking for young women. Hak, Kija and Yeehaw all try to volunteer, confusing the hell out of the captain. She picks Yun because he knows explosives and has a pretty face. He is the perfect trap, and he is confident he can fool any man with a dress. The squad agrees to launch the operation tomorrow. That night, the captain goes into mom mode, warning Yona to stay safe because she cares about her like a daughter. Yona barely remembers her own mother, so this warmth hits her right in the feels. Walking away, Yona bumps into Hak. He grabs her, hating the idea of watching the princess walk into a trap. He just wants to keep her safe. Yona used to think the kingdom was perfect, but now she sees the suffering. She realizes her dad might have been incompetent. She doesn't know if he was a good king, but fixing his mess is her responsibility now. She begs him to let her fight this battle. Hak watches her disappear into the dark. Her intense determination actually makes him root for her even more. The next day, Yona and Yun drag up. Kija and the squirrel also put on disguises to act as escorts. Hak calms the princess's nerves before she walks into the lion's den. They get taken to a secret room and fall right into the trap, while the boys wait outside. Blindfolded, Yona and Yun are dumped at a hideout. They land in a cell full of girls. Yona twists her ankle on the landing. Later, the scumbag lord arrives for inspection. He spots Yona, realizing she is higher quality than the rest, and claims her. Yun tries to intervene, but the lord just kicks him aside and scolds his men for letting her speak. He steps on Yona and threatens everyone to ensure nobody tries to run. Suddenly, he feels a burning sensation, scorched by Yona's intense glare. He thinks he has seen those eyes somewhere before. Luckily, he assumes the princess is dead, so he doesn't make the connection. He leaves, swearing he won't forget those eyes. Yona silently vows that he is going to pay for this. Some girls want to escape, but one has been trapped for weeks. She claims running is impossible. Hopelessness is contagious in here. Her despair makes everyone else want to give up. But Yona refuses to break. She reignites their will to fight. Yona and Yun get blindfolded and moved. Hak is worried sick, though he is holding it together better than the white dragon. Deep down, he is terrified for them. Yiha tries to act cool until Shin spots the ships moving out. It is go time. The captain orders everyone to prepare to sail. Inside, Yun gets the squirrel to untie their ropes. Free, they ambush the guard and knock him out cold. Yun promises to save everyone, even though he is scared stiff. He explains the escape plan to the terrified girls. Yona ignores her throbbing ankle, ready to fight. Her courage inspires Yuri, the hopeless girl, to finally step up. Soon, all the captives are on board. Her name was Yuri. Meanwhile, Hak's squad moves in. The white dragon charges, the blue dragon misses the signal, and enemies are swarming. The captain banned killing, so the green dragon just speeds around, playing support. Inside, Yun distracts guards so the girls can drop crates on them, but the ship rocks violently. One guard dodges and grabs Yuri as a hostage. Yona freezes. She needs the fireworks to signal the team, but she wants to save Yuri. She is running out of ammo. The old Yun would have run away by now. But Yona's stubbornness has rubbed off on him. Yun rips off the dress, revealing he is a pirate. The guard attacks Yun, landing a few solid hits. Then Yun drops the bomb. He planted explosives everywhere and only he knows where. Cornered, the guards drag him off to find the bombs, threatening to execute him if he is bluffing. Meanwhile, Yona grabs her bow and sprints for the deck. A guard chases her, but Yuri bashes his head in. Yona gets cornered and is about to die when the princess vibe kicks in. The enemies mock her, thinking she is just a weak little girl. But her burning eyes freeze them in pure terror. She seizes the moment, launching the fireworks into the sky. The blue dragon spots it. Hak knows where she is now, but he is too far away. Only the green dragon can make it in time. Just as the enemies close in, the green dragon crashes in, wrecking everyone instantly. The plan worked, but Lord's reinforcements arrive to ruin the party. The blue dragon joins the fray, while Hak and the white dragon hold the docks like absolute units. With the battle turning, they just need to capture the boss. Hak and the white dragon sink ships for fun, while the crew helps the green dragon. Hearing he is losing, the Lord decides to fight personally to save his empire. Yona spots him on the ship. She is with the green and blue dragons now. Soldiers swarm the area. The blue dragon dodges a trap and scouts ahead. He realizes the coward has already fled. He plans to regroup and exact revenge on Yona later. While he celebrates his escape, the blue dragon tracks him and the green dragon closes in. The Lord shoots Yiha in the shoulder. As he aims the kill shot, he feels a terrifying gaze on him. He finally realizes the truth. It is the red-haired girl from the capital. She is right there. Princess Yona doesn't flinch. She puts an arrow straight through his chest, ending his corrupt reign. Battle over. They return to the harbor. The captives reunite with their families. Yona and Yun finally arrive. Covered in bruises, Hak and the white dragon see the injuries and rage quit on the remaining traffickers. The captain declares victory and orders a massive feast for the crew. Later, Yona wanders the city and accidentally bumps into Suan. He is shocked but happy she is alive, thinking she died during his coup. He is genuinely relieved. Yona is traumatized, remembering how he murdered her father. His guards are near, so he hugs her to hide her face. She feels the urge to stab him with her dagger, but she freezes. He dismisses the guards, admitting he understands her hatred. He asks her to wait. He has unfinished business. He promises once he is done, she will be free to do whatever she wants. Then he vanishes. Hak finds her crying in the street. One look and he knows exactly who she just saw. Back at the party, Yona tries to fake a smile, but she is broken. She spills food on herself and starts stripping right there like a zombie. Hak intervenes immediately, telling her to change in the cabin, not in front of the pirates. After she leaves, Hak jokes to distract the crew. However, the green dragon watches closely. Hak never carries his spear in town without a reason. He knows something went down. While changing, Yona clutches the hairpin Suan gave her. She has come a long way since the castle. Later, she and Hak sat watching the sea. She decides to leave and asks if he is coming. Hak obviously agrees to follow her. As usual, the squad eavesdrops, and Yona announces they are hitting the road tomorrow morning. During the banquet, the green dragon sneaks off to play music alone on a cliff. Yona compliments him and tries playing, but she just makes a terrible, awkward screeching noise. They chat until Yeehaw finally decides it is time to say goodbye to his pirate buddies. After fighting alongside them for years, tonight marks a brand new chapter. He finds the captain for one final, serious conversation. They reflect on his decision to follow Yona now. They know the road ahead is brutal, but that is the dragon's true destiny, apparently. Yeehaw hates knowing Yona would be vulnerable without him. She is powerless and always crying, yet faces every hardship head-on, which makes him worry constantly about her safety. Honestly, he is completely captivated by her stubborn and gritty determination. The next day, as they pack up, the captain gives Yona advice and hands over a special magical herb for the road. Yona hugs the captain, feeling like a daughter saying goodbye to her mother. The group moves on, and Shinar quickly notices that Yeehaw is now officially tagging along. They drag him out, making the squad even bigger. Yeehaw's hunting skills improve the food, but they still need the final yellow dragon. Yeehaw volunteers to search, but the other dragons argue about who actually gets to join him. While they bicker, Hak and Yun butcher a deer that Yeehaw caught. Yona helps prep the meat, thinking back to her palace life. She never imagined killing animals, but ignoring it means pretending that life has no meaning. As she prays, a random guy appears nearby. He agrees with her philosophy, claiming that all beings eventually find their way to paradise. Then his stomach growls loudly, and he starts drooling everywhere. He claims he is just passing through, but Yona senses his hunger and invites him to join the meal. Yona and Yun roast the meat, barely paying attention to the new guest. The dragons are still arguing. While eating, they discuss the yellow dragon, who supposedly possesses an extremely resilient and tough body. When the others return, they are totally shocked to discover the hobo is the legendary yellow dragon himself. His name is Zeno, a drifter who enjoys savoring life. Everyone feels his special aura, but strangely, unlike the others, Zeno shows absolutely zero physical reaction upon finally meeting Yona. Nobody knows if he is powerful or just scatterbrained. Before Yona can even invite him, he joins, claiming he loves novelty and will follow for the free food. Another big reason is Yun's incredible cooking. Still suspicious, Kija asks Zeno to demonstrate his legendary and famous resilience. To everyone's surprise, Hak knocks him out instantly. Yun jokes the dragon's skin is actually softer than Yona's. Mocking him, Hak declares himself the true yellow dragon. Kija retorts that if Hak were a dragon, he would be the edgy black dragon of the shadows. Kija is overjoyed the group is finally complete. Yun is happy too, though it feels almost suspiciously simple compared to the other struggles. That night, Zeno seeks out Yona and helps gather firewood. She tells him she trusts he is the real deal. To her, his energy feels different, like a golden ray of light, even though they just met. Being near Zeno gives her comfort. She introduces herself formally, saying it is an honor to walk alongside the yellow dragon. Yun reflects on the prophecy. According to the ancient pact, once the four dragons gather, the sword and shield protecting the king awaken. Then at dawn, the crimson dragon finally returns to the land. Yun knows this is the next goal. Days later, they return to Iksu's home, finding it trashed and the priest unconscious on the floor. Turns out, Iksu caused the mess himself out of pure, delirious hunger. Yun scolds him, but Iksu immediately notices that Yona has endured many painful trials recently. Yun asks about the prophecy. The man explains they must wait for the sword and shield. When the time comes, Yona will know. Zeno suddenly speaks up, questioning the true purpose of gathering the four dragons together. Since fleeing the palace, they relied on dragon power. They used it to survive, but what actually comes next? Will they run forever, or retake the throne and fight Suan with their strength? Taking it is easy. Yet Zeno declares he won't fight, claiming he is useless. He suggests Yona reflect on their true purpose before the prophecy hits, since they are staying put here for now. By late afternoon, the three dragons and Hak sit together to discuss the possibility of avenging her father and challenging Suan. If they reclaim the throne, what happens next? It is hard to imagine grand plans for a 16-year-old. Just hearing Suan's name makes Hak stand up and walk away. Later, Iksu and Yona talk by the waterfall. Her experiences remind her of her father. He sought peace, yet the people were never truly happy. Seeing the world makes her understand her own weaknesses. Yet someone always appears to support her in difficult moments. She isn't strong enough alone, but with help, she can protect the countless people who still need her. She doesn't regret fighting corruption, wondering how many other villains are scattered across the land. She decides to make a difference and help the people of Kuka Kingdom. She apologizes to her father for disobeying him and choosing to fight. Before returning, she still has important missions to complete. She tells Iksu she saw Suan, confessing that despite her hatred, she couldn't strike him down. Iksu explains that some feelings never vanish, meant to be confusing in the dead of night. While everyone sleeps, Yona trains in the rain and Hak checks on her, worried about her health. They take shelter inside a cave. Hak seems uneasy about her sword training. He claims he is just concerned, but Yona wants to rely on him less. She wants strength. She asked Yiha to teach her since Hak refused, but Yiha believes Hak just hates seeing her in danger. Yiha thinks Hak forbids the sword precisely because he wishes for her happiness. He even teased that Hak wants to hide her from other men. Before calling Hak possessive, Yun cut in. Yona dismisses it as just another one of Yiha's jokes. Hak explains the opposite. He wants the palace to see her strength. One day he will prove this is the girl they cast out, Princess Yona, who cut her hair, took the sword, and became a symbol of courage. Hearing this makes Yona incredibly happy. She falls asleep by his side and he kisses her forehead. And that is it. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and comment below. Comment your favorite dragon color, just to prove you watched until the end. That is it. Take care, see you in the next video. Bye.